Now that David Warner has finally retired, Australia's been left with a gaping hole at the top of the order, the size of Warner's stupid kaboom bat. Obviously, the Steve Smith experiment at the top of the order failed. I mean, my God, what a horrible set of matches. And let's be real, this problem is not new. Since the retirement of Chris Rogers in 2015, Australia cycled through 12 different openers. And really, they haven't had a stable opening pair since. And that's why today we're going to go through and rank all the potential replacements. Now, frustratingly, while editing this video, Cricket Australia released their test squad for the opening test match, with young gun Nathan McSweeney being named to debut as opener alongside Usman Khawaja. Now, the important thing about this is that I strongly disagree with this selection. So stick around to find out who I believe should be opening instead. Okay, so the ranking goes as follows. From poo-wee to not good enough / out of form to nice Gary to have to be opening first test. And we're just going to start off by throwing Steve Smith right in there because his experiment didn't work. He was way too erratic. Even Cricket Australia has admitted that he's not going to open. So yeah, he's just not going to be it, okay? And I'm also going to throw Davey Warner in there because this fool has just come out of nowhere. He's just way too arrogant with statements like this. Because he just said, like, you know, if Australia need him, he's happy to open. Mate, this guy retired. Like, no thank you. Move on. I know we don't have someone to fill your shoes, but look, in the lead up to his retirement, a lot of people were calling for him to be axed. So look, man, I don't know if you're going to be doing your legacy, which already is, you know, a bit shaky as it is, any good with that. Okay, so on to who will actually open. And to start us off, we've got Usman Khawaja. And I'm just going to throw him straight into opening at the first test because Uzi at the moment is different gravy. Ever since he came back into the side in late 2021, he has made that position his own. He scored 195 not out on his return. I mean, can you make more of a statement on your return? And that's what these guys who are coming up next have to do. If they want to make that position theirs, they need to come in and put in some monstrous score that puts it out of the question. Now on to who is actually going to be contending for that second spot, and this is where it gets a bit juicy. So make sure you're commenting down below, by the way, who you think should be opening alongside Usman Khawaja. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Okay, so let's talk about Matthew Renshaw. And my God, this guy, it's so frustrating because when he first came into the Australian setup, it looked like that position was his. To be fair, he actually scored 184 in his, third match or something. Like, he made a statement, but then following up, he was just way too inconsistent. I think he opened alongside Joe Burns in a South African series, and they were both just terrible at the top. He lost his spot, then he was injured, then he came back in the Shield, it was inconsistent. And then as soon as you think he's going to be forgotten about, he actually puts in a good run of form. But then it sort of just fades. He's been given a few more opportunities in the middle order since then, and he hasn't made it his own. And it's just really frustrating because we thought we were onto something, but he just hasn't made it his. So I'm just going to put him in not good enough. I really hope he comes good. He seems like a likable bloke and a good player when he's in form. Okay, so next we've got Mr. Sandpaper Man, Cameron Bancroft. I mean, what can I say? This man literally just flopped with such a great opportunity in the most recent Australia A match, which was termed a bat off by the media, which it kind of was in a way, but to be honest, none of them did good. Cameron Bancroft came in at number 3 and did terribly. So that's not a good start. And unfortunately for Cameron Bancroft, his recent run of form ain't all that, because if we're having this conversation last season, man, he would have been the man. He had such a great season for the Warriors in the Shield. He was like, I think he was one of the top run scorers. I don't know if he was the top run scorer for that year. But yeah, like he was incredible. So the fact that he's come out of form at such an unfortunate time is very disappointing. So I'm going to throw him in not good enough / out of form. But look, I reckon he will come back and he will get another shot. And I reckon when he does come back, he'll be good. Just not right now. Look, this might be a little bit controversial, but I reckon this whole conversation, we wouldn't be having it if these two legends, unfortunately, hadn't been hit in the head with a cricket ball. And those two legends are Will Pucovski and Philip Hughes. But Philip Hughes would be the man at the top of the order right now. He was a left-hander with a lot of attacking flair. He played a little bit like Mike Hussey, that sort of regional player, bit kind of loose technique that shouldn't work, but it just does. And then you would have paired that with Will Pucovski, the right-hander. He was a bit of a prodigy growing up. He had an incredible junior record and then burst onto the Shield scene. And he made his debut for Australia and he looked really good. He got a half century on debut, but that's his only match. And it's just such a shame to see because Will Pucovski would have been incredible. Philip Hughes obviously already had a bit of a career, but he was just entering his prime. Obviously, we all know what a tragedy that was to happen to Philip Hughes. And yeah, I mean the greatest respect to both of them, especially Philip Hughes. I hope me bringing this up isn't insensitive, but rest in peace to Philip Hughes. Anyway, they're both legends. I'm going to throw them in Nice Gary as a little ode to them. But yeah, anyway, since neither of them will be in the current side, let's move on to Travis Head. Now, this one sounds pretty juicy because Travis Head coming in and smacking the ball into the Swan River out of Optus Stadium come the first test against India sounds pretty good. He's the man most in form right now. He's such an aggressive player, like the thought of it sounds amazing. And he has opened for Australia in short forms and has done actually quite well. But I'm going to squash those thoughts just for a second because I don't think it will work. Head has actually attributed his recent upturn in form to him just taking a whole new attitude to batting, and that is to just try and whack it. And honestly, full respect, love it. I love that style of play. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's a bit of like what baseball is hoping to be. But I don't think it works necessarily for him if he was to open. Now look, there's actually a really good article just about this. Mr. Grumpy Old Man Yells at Clouds, Ian Chappell, did actually a really good piece on this. And he was talking about the differences between opening in short form versus test match cricket, and specifically why this wouldn't work for Travis Head. And for once, I actually agree with Ian Chappell. Ian Chappell basically says that in test cricket, the ball moves a bit more than in white ball cricket, and that the field is closer in. So there's more pressure on you. And if you're just trying to attack, you're going to be caught out. There's going to be more slips than in white ball cricket. And then also, you're probably just going to end up skying the ball or you get caught out LBW, trying to do a slog sweep or something like that. So yeah, my opinion's been massively swayed by Ian Chappell's, and I'm not going to try and hide that. So yeah, Travis Head, not good enough. But obviously, fantastic player. Stay at number 5. Keep on doing what you're doing, man. Okay, now let's just bring the conversation down a notch. We're going to talk about Marcus Harris. Bro, this guy just isn't it, is he? Oh my God, he's such a frustrating guy to have in the team because on paper, he should be the guy, you know? I might eat my words with this one, but I actually like Marcus Harris. I think he's a really good player. There's a reason he's been given so many opportunities. He has a decent first-class record, which shows the guy knows what he's doing with a bat. And every time he goes out to play, he looks like he fits the spot. He walks out there with confidence. He's got a nice technique. He looks solid. He'll hit a couple of 4s, and then he just gets out. It's the guy he always finds a way to get out. He's been given something like 25 opportunities now to open the batting for Australia. And he's only hit, He's only hit 3 half centuries, no centuries for Australia. So look, Australia's got to look elsewhere. They've given this guy a go, and he hasn't done well. And he didn't do well in the recent Australia A match either. So come on, guys, move on. And move on we shall. And I'm going to talk about the guy who is favourite to open the batting when it comes to the first test against India. And that is Mr. Nathan McSweeney. Now, you may not have heard of his name. And to be honest, I haven't seen a huge amount of the bloke. But according to the stats, He's one of the hottest properties in the Shield game right now. And yeah, look at those stats, are pretty incredible. Now look, at the Australia A match, he didn't quite capitalise on the opportunity that he had at the top of the order, but as I said earlier with Cam Bancroft, no one did really. But his first class record leading into this game is something to be impressed by. Look, he scored 400 runs in his last 5 innings. Like, bro, like that, there's not many people who are going to be competing with that. Now here's where I disagree a little bit, all right? Lots of people are saying he needs to come in and open for Australia. But the thing is, according to what I've read on the internet, this guy has never opened in anything ever. And I want to stamp my ground down for a second, because I think an opener should be an opener. It's like in football, if you put Marcus Rashford at left back, like, it's just not his position. To be fair, Rashford's not going to do well wherever he plays. Not a Man United fan, by the way. But yeah, anyway, getting distracted. This guy's not a natural opener, and he has relatively limited first-class experience. So are you really going to expose him to opening the batting against India as his first, like, real chance at the job? I think not. And I think Australia has a responsibility to look after Nathan McSweeney. I think this guy is going to be a great player one day. I think this guy's a great player right now. But Australia's middle order doesn't really need any changes. So you're not going to put him in the middle order, but just put him in a little bit of bubble wrap for a little bit. Let this guy get a bit more experience in the Shield, and then just fit him in at number 5 or 6 when the time comes. Don't expose him at the top of the order and let him get destroyed after he's only got a couple of matches that are sort of working to his favour. Yeah, look, Australia's just they've got a level of responsibility here. And I think putting him in as opener, look, won't go well. But hopefully I eat my words with that. Because if he does the job, and he probably is going to get the opportunity, if he does a good job, man, like, have we got a talent there? But I just urge on the side of caution. That's all. Look, I'm about to just be a total hypocrite and go against what I've said, because the man who I think should open, his name is Sam Konstas. Now, I'm going to eat my words because I think he should open, and he's only 19. But the difference is that this guy is actually an opener. So he is made to open. And then on top of that, because he's only 19, if he goes in and opens a batting for Australia and he fails, he could then go back to the Shield and go play some county cricket, and for the next 6 years, rebuild his confidence with already added bonus that he's played for Australia in the past. And within those 6 years, the year will be 2030. He would, in 2030, be the same age as Nathan McSweeney is right now. And the point that I'm making with all of this is that Sam Konstas is probably the future of Australian cricket in terms of opening, whilst Nathan McSweeney probably isn't. So why risk ruining a very temporary run of form for Nathan McSweeney for a position that he's never going to get, when you could be building up Sam Konstas? Now, I get that I'm probably doubling back on myself, but look, let me just make a case for Sam Konstas. Okay, so in October, Sam hit 2 centuries in the same match against South Australia, and he's only played like 8 games. So that's incredible talent being on display for someone in only their first half a dozen of games. He's got an average of 42. He's got 4 scores over 50. Most notably, in his most recent performance for Australia A, he scored 72 not out. He's like the only guy to have performed in that match. And I feel like you've got to use that. Anyway, look, I'm probably wrong with all of this, but I'm just going to say I think Sam Konstas should open. If Nathan McSweeney does open, good for him. I just think you're risking the guy. But overall, both of them are probably not in the best position to take on the job. It's a very big job, but I wish them both the best. But my pick is Sam Konstas. Comment down below who you think should open the batting for Australia come the first test in only a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks, guys.